critical for our new separation technique. As we talked about earlier, we are constantly learning and upgrading the vehicle after we test. Now, this is a pretty exciting first for our team as hot staging has never before been used as part of a reusable space transportation system, let alone on a rocket with the size and power of Starship. Hot staging is a significant change from Flight 1, and we're really hoping to gather data on it during this highly dynamic phase of flight, and that is once again assuming that we even make it that far.
Of course, let's take a closer look at what we expect hot staging to look like. Now, it occurs at about liftoff plus 2.5 minutes. At that point, the booster will shut down most of its 33 engines, leaving just 3 running, and the ship will ignite all 6 of its engines. Clamps will
G'day,
release,
g'day.
and then the ship will thrust away
Can
from
you
the
guys
booster.
hear me?
Now, this is the
Can you
first
hear
in-flight
the
test
audio
of
on the
the heat shield
spaceship?
on the top of the booster and the bottom of the ship, and of course the first
Hey
in-flight test of hot
TG.
staging, and we're
Hey
hoping to gather a
LC.
ton of data on it today.
Yeah. Now, stage separation by hot staging is somewhat uncommon in spaceflight, but it has been done before.
Hey BG.
However, today will mark the first time that a reusable space transportation system is attempting it. The Titan program did hot staging quite successfully in the early 1960s.
Hot staging, that's what I like.
They were not concerned with reuse.
I'm into
so
hot
there was
staging.
No issue when the Titan first stage took considerable damage upon ignition of the second stage engine. Now, today, there is a good chance that our booster will also incur some damage from the second stage engines, but we need to test it out, see if the system can tolerate it, and collect data to learn how to do hot staging better next time, because ultimately,
Thanks,
when
LC.
successful, it could increase Starship's payload to orbit capacity by 10%. So, more payload and more people to Mars. Hot staging also helps us maximize the vehicle's performance by leaving those 3 first stage engines on, so gravity can't rob us of precious velocity, or at least not as much of it. Hot staging also helps to ensure the ship's liquid propellants are at the bottom of the prop tanks, which is where we need that propellant to be in order to quickly light the ship's engines. Another reason to do hot staging, it reduces the risk at stage separation by moving to a passive
Hot staging makes everyone sweaty.
stage system, deleting parts and
Hey
simplifying,
CS.
meaning physics is going to be doing most of the work instead of mechanical parts that would otherwise be pushing the 2 stages away from each other.
That's a great summary, Kate. And of course, this required design changes from Flight 1.
Yeah, last time they destroyed the launch pad.
The interstage here. So on Flight 1, that interstage was completely enclosed. But for hot staging, the interstage portion between the booster and the ship is going to see dramatic increases in pressure and temperature. So we had to change the structure to include vents for the exhaust gases that the ship's Raptor engines will produce. Now, the 3 center engines on the ship actually gimbal.
Elon Musk had to get a fishing license.
We're going to be gimbaling them outwards to reduce the forces that are being directly imparted on the booster and maximize the exhaust gas that's going through those vents. We've also beefed up the ship's space heat shield to withstand the higher temperatures and pressures. And for today's test, like really getting through hot staging would be a major milestone. There are some risks associated with this test, but of course, the ship and booster are going to be pretty far out over the ocean.
Hey, CJ.
And far away from people.
Yeah, regardless of what happens, it's going to be super exciting to watch. Now, in addition to the first and second stages of the vehicle, Starship has a third stage that we call Stage 0. This consists of
Stage 0.
The tower, and
that's the FNL people, yeah, they're at Stage 0.
Screen, as well as the pad infrastructure built around
Stage Zeros.
Fun fact, it's the Guinness Book of World Records holder for the largest launch tower in the world. What a beautiful drone shot that we have here. Also important part
That's a
of
stupid
the system,
world record.
Visible right now, especially because of the fog, is our new water-cooled steel flame deflector.
That fog looks awesome.
And that's certainly a new upgrade for this flight.
Yeah, on Flight 1, the Starship's launch pad was damaged pretty significantly during liftoff.
Whoa, look at that.
Super heavy Raptor engines fired their full thrust into the foundation for more than 12 seconds. So now we have a new high-pressure, water-cooled steel flame deflector system.
Oh, that's not...
And installed between the flights, and there you can see the video of it dispensing 260,000 gallons of water. And that's designed to dissipate those loads from the Raptor engines and support rapid turnaround of the launch pad with minimal refurbishment between flights. Part of a rapidly reusable launch system also means the pad infrastructure.
Yeah.
We performed multiple standalone tests and have used this new system for both the Flight 2 booster static.
You see
fire
those arms that are open there?
had pretty
That's
significant
supposed to catch the Starship when it comes
Now,
back down to
also,
land.
part of stage 0 we mentioned before, the launch
That's
mount.
never gonna
Kinda
work.
hard to see there, but it's what the booster is connected to. Oh, here we can see basically the legs of the launch mount. This is what holds
Launch
Starship in
mouth.
all of its mass.
That'd be a
Holds
cool name
Starship
for
during
a comic book
ignition,
character, Launch
over there
Mouth.
at the Super Heavy booster.
I'd trademark
This
that,
is what
Launch Mouth
houses all of
TM.
the equipment
Odds
needed
Are
to
Creations.
fuel the Super Heavy booster and condition it for flight, as well as all of those electrical, communication, and data connections between the ground and Starship. Bottom line is, it's an important part of how we talk to Starship on the ground and understand that it's really ready to fly.
And of course, the awesome camera shot there of those 33 Raptor engines.
Such a great view. We don't have that view for Falcon 9, so I
wish we
love
did.
that we
33 engines.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, the real game changer with Starship is not only
You may be able to
mass
get Gail Simone off the
but it's
ground.
designed to be used over and over and over again with little to no downtime in between. Full and rapid reusability is the key to making routine
It looks
space
computer
travel a
generated.
reality, and SpaceX has been working on this since its inception.
Yeah, with SpaceX's family of Falcon launch vehicles, which are the first and only orbital class rockets capable of reflight, we started that, and Starship is going to take this even further.
Shut up,
with a
LC.
reusable first and second stage. Now, while most rockets are expended after their portion of the mission, SpaceX rockets land back on Earth and are quickly returned to our hangars to prepare to refly again.
Exactly. In fact, 90% of all Falcon 9 boosters that have flown this year have been reused, or as we like to say, flight proven. So while launching and landing rockets may seem routine today, this was not always the case. For those of you that have been following along since our
So
early days,
this rocket
you know
has
that it
to
took us 4
separate
attempts before we
its
successfully
stages, and then
launched our
there'll
first
be an
rocket to
improvement on the
orbit.
last one.
Here you see our Falcon 1 Flight 4. 15 years ago in September, that vehicle became the first privately developed liquid-fueled launch vehicle to orbit Earth. If Falcon 1 Flight 4 had not succeeded, it would have meant the end of SpaceX.
And our first successful landings didn't come easily. We had to miss the target a few times before we ultimately stuck the landing. But each of these landing attempts of how to not land an orbital rocket were teaching us what we needed to know in a flight-like environment to get that full picture of how all the systems interacted together.
Oh man, yeah, this is me trying to not get goosebumps watching this first drone ship landing. I hosted that webcast, and it was so exciting to see that iterative development approach that we took finally paid off.
I still have some more
after
koala
so many
pins.
attempts of failing. Now that failure is expected to help improve future designs of our vehicles and systems. So fast forward to present.
Liam
day,
says he's
we've
going to
landed
sue anyone that
F9
uses
boosters
his
over
own likeness to sell their comic
245
book.
times since our first reflight of an orbital class booster 6 years ago.
Yeah, and it really comes down to our design philosophy. If you're not failing,
It's like
in some
JDA's
way,
whole business
then
model.
there's room to learn and push the design to improve. And failure doesn't just mean blowing up a rocket. It might mean not being as efficient as we want to be or producing slower than we want to. So that approach has been the basis of how we've made all of our major innovative advancements.
All right, now Falcon 9 has certainly come a long way, and Starship will too. But as a reminder, today is a test.
As a reminder,
Finally
this is
hope
going to
get
explode.
Stage separation, but any data received will help us improve. It's the second
Chris is
of
horny.
many future flight tests of Starship before it becomes fully operational.
And
Yeah,
these flight
there's
tests
your hot
teach
chick,
us about
Chris.
the limits of our design. They help us improve our understanding of the vehicle, and ultimately will help us to make Starship more reliable and rapidly reusable. So again, whatever the outcome and however far we get today, we can promise excitement. So why are we doing all of this? Why do we need a rocket this big, and why does it need to be reusable so quickly? And that answer goes back to SpaceX's mission, which is to make life multiplanetary.
We aren't just building a new spacecraft, we're changing what it means to go to space. By building the most powerful rocket ever flown and a ship designed to carry people, cargo, habitats, satellites, and more, we're unlocking a future where
is that
our
what it's
dreams
gonna
of
look like on
exploration
Mars?
will no longer exceed our grasp. And this mission continues with flights like today's integrated test.
And these are flights where we're going to fail fast, but learn even faster, where each time we're going to try something new while flying something that we've improved. And ultimately, that's going to build up a fleet to fly early and often as Starship rapidly evolves to become more capable and more reliable.
The first stop is our nearest neighbor, with a surface that hasn't seen visitors in more than 50 years. Under Artemis with NASA, Starship will return people back to the moon.
Oh,
After those
I want to
first
go to the moon.
missions, we'll be ready to fly more people along with everything that it takes to build a moon base. Think about that. Hardware that will enable us to live on another world is sitting on a launch
I want a
pad
moon
on
buggy.
Earth right now.
And the moon is just the proving ground. When the time comes to make that leap to Mars, everything gets ratcheted up by orders of magnitude.
The logistics of supporting an entire city on Mars are daunting, requiring millions of pounds of cargo flown from Earth spread out over thousands of
Elon
launches.
says that
We
there's
just
enough
broke the record for the number of launches in a
solar
single year,
energy to
and we're
power
gonna
the
break
entire
next
United
year.
States with a
Now,
100-mile
years
by
to come,
100-mile
Starship
grid.
is going to dwarf those figures as we bring it online and truly make life multiplanetary. But for now, anyway, as the clock counts down to today's flight test, why don't we get another status update from John?
We're just over 9 minutes from liftoff as the countdown clock clicks to 0.
Here we go. We've got
Good
an
news, teams aren't
old
working
white
any
guy.
significant issues on the launch vehicle
This is
right
the man
now.
that actually does all the work.
Loading is continuing on both the Super Heavy and the ship stages. Most recently, we began loading LOX methane fuel into the header tanks on the Starship. And on the graphic on the left side of the screen, you can see up in the nose of the second stage, what we call Starship, are those two header tanks for fuel and liquid oxygen. Now that loading started at T-minus 24 minutes and will continue until approximately T-minus 5.5 minutes. Now Starship's second stage main fuel and LOX tanks are loaded for flight.
Yeah, I don't know what my dog's
Second
barking
stage
at.
propellant that we're loading on board is going through the quick disconnect that comes out on the arm that's located at the base of the stage from the tower. On the Super Heavy booster, propellant loading will continue until T-minus 3 minutes. We've also configured the pad for liftoff. A little earlier in the count, the hold downs,
Where there is
booster
a
hold
go.
downs were commanded to unlatch. That means once the rocket has sufficient thrust to overcome its weight, it'll lift off the pad. There's no need to command the hold downs to release the rocket. As we mentioned earlier also, the ignition sequence has been slightly modified from the last flight for a more efficient liftoff. As a reminder, we ignite the engines a few seconds
What's
before
the
T0.
H4?
We don't lift off exactly at T0. We lift off a few seconds later, a couple seconds. Finally, the SpaceX team continues to check in with the Coast Guard to ensure there are no boats in the safety perimeter before proceeding with launch out over the Gulf of Mexico.
Look
Now,
at its
currently,
eyes
we're
looking at
coming
us.
up T-minus 7 minutes, 10 seconds to the test flight of Starship. Talent loading is continuing on both stages of Starship. We're waiting now for the completion of loading of the header tanks in the next few minutes.
Those heat tiles are never going to work.
The first stage is also beginning pressurization for flight while we are continuing to load propellant into it. Again, booster propellant load will finish at approximately
Propellant load.
minutes. At stage, both first and second stages are fully loaded, and we'll have the 10 million pounds of liquid propellant on board the two stages of Starship. On the next few minutes, the guidance system will perform its final alignment.
Imagine if your
We get the
wife
automated
weighed
flight
10 million
termination
pounds.
system that'll arm, and the final TVC checkout will be performed. We may get a view looking up at the engines as we gimbal the 13 middle engines to check them out just before liftoff at about T-minus 90 seconds. If we need to hold, it would come at T-minus 40 seconds. That's the point in the countdown where we can pause to wait for final checkouts or pressurization to complete. Or, as we're hearing right now, we're still working a few boats in the area that are headed south.
Fueling is complete.
And a lot of cheering here in Hawthorne. The boats are heading south, but we are still planning to hold at T-minus 40 seconds if necessary.
Just amazing views of today's launch. There's nothing quite right like a launch at basically sunrise.
It does look pretty amazing.
Sunrise, I think, was just about 10 or 15 minutes ago out at Starbase.
It's 9 o'clock at night here.
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
These views are just incredible. Couldn't ask for a more beautiful day to attempt.
Oh no,
a
it's still
test flight
today.
here.
9 o'clock today.
Again, these are live views of Starship as it awaits its second integrated flight test. Our primary objective today is to get through stage separation.
Went out to a restaurant tonight and had a nice pizza.
Our attempt to perform hot staging, where we are going to ignite the engines on the second stage while some of the engines on the first stage are still lit.
Went to a dessert cafe.
Both stages will be making
Had a
fire
piece of
at the
cheesecake
same
with
time,
coffee.
and that will push the two
Cappuccino,
boosters
and it was
away
like a
from
Malteser
separate
chocolate
stage.
cheesecake.
So that's the primary goal for today. We really hope to be able to test that out. But at the end of the day, all and any data that we can collect is going to be incredibly helpful and help inform future improvements and iterations of the vehicle.
Yeah, Kate, there are other objectives for today too, assuming we get farther than stage separation. There's goals to test out how re-entry goes on the ship portion. If the booster survives
And
stage
smoking
separation,
drugs.
then it's going to try a boost back burn and hopefully a soft landing as a sort of dress rehearsal for what it would look like on land. So everything coming up to that big design change, though, of hot staging today.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were saying, that booster, it will be attempting a water landing in the Gulf of Mexico.
The city was really busy tonight, even though there's this big Coldplay concert going on.
Today. But that booster, yeah, we want to try and demonstrate controlled ascent through most engine cutoff. We want to try to demonstrate that
Hey, PC.
separation and boost backflip. Trying to basically demonstrate controlled burn and entry and that soft water landing. Like you said, it will help inform when we attempt a land landing, but we start in the water first.
Exactly.
Just like we did with the Falcon 9.
Yeah, exactly. And just getting to hot staging, though, is going to be farther than we got on Flight 1.
Yes.
Flight 1, that was about as far as we got. We didn't have hot staging on that vehicle. So that's the first and foremost objective today. Get that far, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Now, one thing that's a little cool about Starship, and it's different from Falcon 9, is we can actually hold a little bit longer if we needed to than we can on Falcon 9 missions. Once we get to T-minus 40 seconds...
Yeah. Water landing is crashing in the ocean, that's correct.
Depending on the reason for the hold, we can hold for up to 30 minutes. And today, actually, our entire launch window is about 20 minutes, so the whole duration would cover most of our launch window.
Yeah.
And that's different from Falcon.
Yeah, absolutely. With Falcon, we have to go...
I'll stream twice today. I'm amazing.
That 40-second hold is super helpful. If we need to, for example, we need more time to pressurize the COP.
Did I go to a protest, Oz? No, I didn't. What am I protesting?
Perhaps
if
fuel...
the engineers just need to look at some of the data,
yeah.
See how engines are performing or the avionics.
Exactly. Those checkouts, being able to...
We don't really have any protests in Perth at the moment.
Loaded, and we might want to just take a few more minutes for that. So
I think they had like a day off for climate change or some bullshit. All the school kids take a day off.
So it's a little bit different here.
Yell at the streets. One day a year.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
That'll help.
Right now we're hearing it doesn't look like we're going to need to hold a T-minus 40 seconds.
Good.
The boats are clearing out of the way.
Good.
Next event coming up, TVC Wiggles, as we move the center engines on the...
Ooh, I like the Wiggles. Show me your hot potatoes.
You can see maybe just a little
yeah.
bit there.
Yeah.
90
So
seconds.
cool,
Wiggles
gimbal.
are underway as we're checking out the first stage. TVC checks are complete. Next major event we're going to hear, hopefully, is the flight director go for launch at T-minus 30 seconds.
Ooh.
As we're coming up on T-minus 1 minute, when we get to T-minus 40 seconds, we'll just listen in. Last time, as you recall, we did hold at 40 seconds. It took a few seconds for the clock to recover, so we're going to watch that.
Chris wants me to stream more.
T0, we're going to watch and listen to the second test flight of Starship.
Maybe I should stream more just to relax your... Everyone seems a bit tense out there. Maybe if everyone just came and yelled at me for a little bit, they'd feel a lot better. Uh-oh. It's white men. White men are the problem. Oh, no. This is bad news. Can't get it up.
Hawthorne, we're T-minus 40 seconds in holding. We had a rapid recycle. We've not heard anything over the countdown net as the team works both first and second stages. We're going to monitor the nets here for a minute.
Failure to launch. At the moment, they're making a phone call to Elon and saying it might explode. Can we launch it anyway?
Got a little bit of an update. We're continuing to hold at T-minus 40 seconds. This is the normal hold point for Starship, as we talked earlier. Sounds like we're working just late pressurization on, I believe, the second stage.
Yeah,
Team is working it.
CH4. What is that?
Right now, 40 seconds. We can hold here for about 15 minutes or so before we would run out of window for this morning. So right now they're working on filling pressure vessels. And ideally we'll be able to solve this and come back and release the clock at T-minus 40 seconds. We're going to continue to listen and monitor for another few
Did Berserk dox himself? That's all right. That means we can find him easier, right? Can we just Google Earth him then?
And it's worth mentioning here that don't go away. We are holding at T-minus 40 seconds, but once the teams have resolved and see the data that they want to see, the clock can restart straight away, and it'll start ticking down from T-minus 40 again, all towards liftoff.
Yeah, exactly. Now, while we do have the ability to hold for up to 30 minutes, we only have a 20-minute launch window, so don't go away, don't change the channel, and just like Shiva said, we can restart that clock, and there it is.
And there it goes.
All right. Yeah, Elon said, yeah, go for it.
Rolling, and we are rolling. T-minus 30 seconds.
I want his name and social security number, BG.
T-minus 15. 10, 9.
Oh, look at this beautiful metric system.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Keep the pitching down range.
It's flying a lot better than last time. All its engines are working. Last time, if you remember, it had lost 2 engines by this point.
We are T-plus 40 seconds into the flight on Starship. 33 Raptor engines powering the first stage.
Power and telemetry nominal.
We've heard power and telemetry nominal call out. We're heading downrange over the
1,000 kilometers an hour. Max Q. It's past max Q. We just need separation.
Starship is through the period of greatest stress on the way to space. Now the next major event is hot staging in just over 90 seconds from now. To get ready, the booster will shut down all but 3 of the Raptor engines. Flames holding the 2 stages together will release, and the Starship second stage will ignite its engines. Starship will then separate from the Super Heavy booster and head to space. And at the same time, the 3 engines that are still firing on Super Heavy will flip the booster around. 10 more engines will ignite for the boost back burn, putting the first stage on path for a splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
3,000 kilometers an hour. Hit 4,000.
Engine power continues to look nominal on 33 Raptor engines. We're about to shut down the first stage and perform staging. Let's watch and listen.
5,000.
And acquisition of signal Houston and New Orleans.
It's not going to release.
Booster engine cut off. Stage 7.
Oh, it did.
Boost back startup. Ship in good position.
They're going to try and land the booster.
You're hearing the cheering. The first ever successful hot stage for SpaceX's Starship.
Incredible views of our Super Heavy booster.
Oh.
As you can see, the Super Heavy booster has just experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. However, the ship is still underway with
Ship
all
avionics,
6.
power and telemetry nominal.
We just heard there, ship avionics, power and telemetry nominal. All 6 engines are lit, as you can see from the GUI there at the bottom right-hand side of your screen.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It's got 3 Raptors and 3, what are they?
Now, we did know that the that hot staging was going to be incredibly dynamic. We knew that there was a chance that the booster would not survive, but we're going to take that data and figure out how we can make the booster better for the next.
Yeah, that water
hot
landing
stage.
didn't work.
Yeah, that hot staging put a lot of load on the top of the booster, and of course it flipped around there, a lot of dynamic stuff happening. But ship is still going strong.
And it's doing great. Right now, the ship, the second stage, is on its way. Like we said, you can see all 6
It's
of its
cruising.
engines are ignited.
8,000 kilometers an hour.
The next major milestone for the ship will be the shutdown of those engines, or SECO, second engine cutoff, which if you follow our Falcon 9 launches, familiar terminology there. So far, today has been
Shut up,
incredibly
nerd.
successful, even with the RUD of the Super Heavy booster. This is amazing.
Primary objective of the booster today, to get to hot staging, to get ship on its way to orbit. It did that admirably.
Yeah, we definitely asked.
Starship trajectory nominal.
All right, great news there. That trajectory for ship is
Acquisition of
nominal.
signal Cape Canaveral.
Once again, Starship's second stage. It's firing those engines, and as you just heard, everything's looking good. Now, for the ship, we wanted it to survive hot staging, which, as you can see there by that little dot on your screen, it did. We also want to basically demonstrate that the successful startup of those engines, demonstrating controlled ascent, which is what it's doing right now, and eventually orbital insertion. We are hoping to basically send this around the Earth, and if it makes it this far, splash down in the Pacific Ocean, a couple hundred miles north of Hawaii.
Oh.
Now, if we get that far, like, all of that sounds great. Secondary objectives for ship, again, continuing to gather engine data and about its health, performance.
Nominal ship chamber pressures.
Great news there. That tells us that the chamber pressures inside of the Starship, again, that's that small dot on your screen, basically the propellant pressures.
Does that mean that
are
they're,
really good.
we're not going to get to see this crash in the ocean, are we?
Corner of your screen, you can see essentially a user interface showing us which engines are lit. So the 3 center sea level Raptor engines on ship are gimbaling engines. The 3 outer engines in the triangle, the larger ones, are Raptor vacuum engines.
Oh, okay.
All of them
They're all
continuing to
Raptors.
fire nominally, so they're at the pressures that we expect to try to get into our target trajectory today.
Yeah.
And we're not targeting orbit today. We're targeting almost orbit today. That's very intentional as part of the mission design. The goal is to get
I'm just
to
Googling
a profile similar to what we would need for orbit, but also
what the coverage is going to extend to.
that the ship would need to dissipate for re-entry. And so we're actually going in a suborbital trajectory today. but that trajectory will get us to the energy levels that we need at reentry, where we can really stress that heat shield and get valuable data on reentry. And those calls that we are still on a nominal trajectory here and seeing nominal pressures means that we have a really good shot of hitting our target orbit.
Yeah. Now, if the booster had survived, we would be around the time where it would be getting ready to land, performing its re-entry, but it unfortunately did not survive.
It exploded in a
That
ball of
being
fire.
said, that's okay. It survived several
Turn right.
seconds after hot staging, so we're going to take that data and improve the hot staging sequence and probably improve the hardware itself for the next flight.
Okay, it's gonna splash down about 90 minutes time. So we won't stick around for that. I don't know whether, I think she mentioned that they don't have very good video of that, of the landing, because they can't predict exactly where it's going to be. So we won't stick around for that. It's like I'm looking at Liam.
Would shut down its engines.
Orange. They could have cameras in the ocean.
As you can tell by the excitement from the crowd here at Mission Control Center in Hawthorne.
Oh no, there's a gay cowboy.
Our Star Command Center, that's our control center at Starbase Texas. The crowd here, Mission Control Center behind us in Hawthorne. Everyone is super excited.
One Asian woman.
Successful day this has been so far.
White men everywhere. All right. I hope you all appreciated the travels into space with your friendly friend Oz. And I will catch you again. Enjoy the morning, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday morning. I'm going to head off and watch some television with my beautiful wife and hop into bed. Bye.